to go into the actual page. So
Okay.
interesting.
All right. Well, good morning. We're going to start over. So, good morning. Warm welcome to my guests here, Carmen, Perry, and Gabe, who are joining us today. Hello to those of you who may be watching us live. Okay. Thank you, Bryce. I appreciate that. I can see the text, I just can't see the video. So, there is a link where you can actually see us, I guess. All right. So we are here this morning to talk about Safety 2022. This is the American Society of Safety Professionals National Conference happening in Chicago, June 27th to June 29th. I'm going to put a link here in the chat box if you are interested in registering or if you want more information about the event. If you are in safety, this is a really great conference to consider attending. There are going to be more than 200 educational opportunities, more than 6 continuing education credits available, and there are going to be more than 5,000 of your peers there, all for the same reason. They want to get better at keeping people safe. And we've all done a lot of virtual training the past 2 years, and they've been surprisingly great. And there is a virtual component to Safety 22 as well, but there's going to be, but there's just something different about the opportunity to meet your fellow safety professionals face to face. So, in this episode of Making the Most of Safety 22, we'll be diving into my guests' best tips and tricks for networking at the event, but also maintaining those relationships after the event is over. Now, I'm going to make a confession here and say that really I put this topic together just for me because I am an introvert and all I want to do is attend my session, take my notes, and then I want to go hide out in my hotel room until the next session. I hope I'm not the only one who benefits from this topic, though. So, this is the second in a 4-part series where I'm talking with fellow attendees and speakers about Safety 22. On Tuesday, we had a fantastic session on educational panels because between the keynotes, the plenary discussions, the flash sessions in the expo hall, and the online sessions, the in person sessions, again, there's more than 200 educational opportunities. It's a lot. And we had some really great strategies for planning your agenda, sessions that people are looking forward to. So let me put a link here into the chat box where you can uh, watch that recording. The next conversation happening in our series is Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern, when we'll be hearing from my guests on how to navigate the expo hall. It's 147,000 square feet of space, hundreds of booths. It's a lot. And so I want to hear from people on what we should not miss during that event as well. Here is a link where you can attend that particular conversation. And then the following Tuesday, this is going to be our final conversation. We're going to be talking about extracurricular events. These are things that are happening outside of kind of your main scheduled events. They may or may not be affiliated with ASSP, but they can add a little fun to your event, help you create some, fond memories, things that you can look back to, things you can look forward to. And we're going to get the scoop from people in the know about that. So let me introduce you to my guest. My guest, Carmen. Carmen Castellón, safety, and I apologize, Carmen, if I mispronounced your name there. You can correct me here in a
No
second.
problem.
Safety and health specialist with US Cellular. She holds an ASP. She attended her first conference in 2015 and has attended a total of 7 conferences. So, Carmen, I know that you belong to a number of ASSP groups, specifically the Hispanic Safety Professional. Could you tell us a little bit about these specialty groups and why somebody might be interested in joining one?
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, everyone. So one of the reasons why I joined the HSP group was because I am Latino. So I wanted to network with people that had the same background, but also make sure that we were helping our Latino community on different industries, right? Making sure that our employees had the right resources. If they were only in English, they could be translated in Spanish. So this specific specialty group is really targeting our Latino community, which is, in some of the industries, the heaviest industry, one of the most um, injured workers. So um, there are many other groups. I also belong to WISE, and I met wonderful people that at the end, I was part of the mentorship program for both groups. We have mentorship programs, and I met. The value I got from those groups, just belonging, helping, and then at the end giving back, was unbelievable. So not only you make connections, but you can also get in the long term, you can give back a lot of things. So my advice is, if you can join all of the common interest groups, why not? I mean, you don't have to be, you don't have to have some commonality with them, but you can learn a lot from them.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Carmen. Perry, safety manager at BT Construction and BT Trenchless. He holds a CHST. He attended his first safety conference in 2017 and has attended a total of 3 of them. He's the chairperson of the Trenching and Excavation Safety Task Force. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Good morning. Definitely excited to share some information on the task force. So we started the task force 3 years ago, trenching and excavation safety, and it's a volunteer effort. There's a lot of folks across the country and around the world that really are helping us in our mission to save people from getting caught in a trench, so a trench collapse. So this volunteer effort has been getting some reach through both LinkedIn, Facebook, some of those social media sites. And we're starting to do some outreach events through the HBA, the Home Builders Association, and just starting to just create awareness around trench safety. We do have a web page, thinkinsidethebox.info, for more information there. And of course, look us up on LinkedIn. We've got over 4,000 followers on there. We share lots of stuff through that site. Again, volunteer effort. All it is to create awareness around trench safety. So we're really hoping to get some more folks to help us drive that mission and help us save some lives in trench safety. But yeah, excited to be here and talk a little bit about networking.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Perry. And I put a link to your LinkedIn page for that there as well.
Thank you.
And then let's welcome Gabe, Vice President of BBL Safety. He attended his first conference in 2021, and this is going to be your second. So brand new. Now you are speaking. You're going to do a session called Lead Like Lasso, Developing Your Next Generation Leadership Star. That's happening Monday, June 27th at 3 p.m. Can you give us a little sneak preview to that conference?
Sure. Yeah, it's going to be kind of a different layout. I'm presenting with Wyatt Bradbury. We've done this presentation once at BCSP and then another time before, but really this is kind of a continuation of a conversation that Wyatt and I have been having for the last couple of years. In fact, just really looking at how do you develop, how do you new in the leadership position, for people who are established in organization. How do you teach them to do something new and to bring other people up to a leadership position? The show Ted Lasso is just fantastic for as an example of how you take a has dysfunctions in it, and using some fairly unconventional methods start to bring people up into leadership positions, even some people that are not really that into leading or maybe don't think that they can lead. So it's going to
Yeah.
be fun. Wyatt and I have a great time doing it, so it'll be a good time.
Yeah, that's great. So, Gabe, your audio is a little rough for us. Maybe you can try turning off your video, and that way we're not we've got more stream available for your audio. So, I'm your
Sounds good.
host. Yeah, thanks, Gabe. So, I'm your host. I'm Sharon Lipinski. I'm the CEO of Habit Mastery Consulting. Now, I am speaking Tuesday, 4 p.m., with a paradigm shifting presentation on how basic brain design makes complacency a relentless biological drive, and it reveals what safety professionals can do about it. If you are speaking also and you're here attending us, type it into the chat. We'd love to hear what session you're going to be doing. So let's dive into the discussion. What would you say to somebody like me who might be tempted to just sit through their sessions without talking to the people next to them, and just want to retire to their hotel room early? Carmen, what would you say?
I think everyone has gone through that. When these conferences can be exhausting, right? You are done with your session and you just want to, go and check your messages or your computer. So what I do is usually go and get a drink. They have sometimes these stands for coffee or refreshments, and that is a place where you can take a break and also engage with some people. I have met many people that way, just making my coffee or getting some ice. So I think you should be ready to start networking as soon as you meet someone, and not be shy. I know it's hard, but sometimes I get my old business cards, and if I don't want to talk much, I exchange that information. And at the end, if I am really interested in their background, I go back to LinkedIn and then I connect with them. So for me, that's useful because I can put their name in the back and see what the industry and what kind of product, whatever. So there, those are the ways I use my break time, also a time to network with others.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for that, Carmen. What would you add to that, Gabe?
Yeah, I think I'd echo a lot of that. I think that there is a tendency to want to just kind of hide out a little bit and take a breather. But I think that even just kind of preparing a little bit ahead of time with maybe even some comments or questions to talk about with people. This is a great opportunity to have a shared experience with other attendees that are there. So fantastic time to have a conversation with people because you can talk about the conference itself, something you saw, a session that you had there. There's already conversation topics built in, so it's a really easy way to strike up conversation with people.
Yeah, I think that's true. The nice thing about a professional event, especially big conferences, everybody came in from somewhere and you all have something in common. I'll mention a couple other networking opportunities or reasons to connect. Professional opportunities. I know that individual chapters are really good about sharing um, job opportunities. Lots of technical knowledge gets exchanged. We're going to help you, tackle certain problems that you're dealing with. This is even happening on the National ASSP website where they have forums and you can post a question and you can engage with people there. So, I think from the perspective of career opportunities and professional knowledge, you don't want to let this opportunities to connect with your peers um, pass you by. So, where are these good opportunities at the event? Where would you be looking to meet somebody new, Gabe?
I definitely look for people in the sessions that I'm attending. That's a great way to start. I mean, to take notes after the event, and maybe even go to somebody next to me or that are in the waiting for the session to start and just ask them, hey, so what are you interested in this one? Or wow, that was an interesting point that was brought up. What did you think of that? You can kind of gauge, especially in person, if someone is interested in the same topic as you are based on their reaction. So that's kind of fun to be able to do something like that. But yeah, during before and after the sessions, I think are a great place to connect with
Yeah,
So
and
you
I
sit
would echo
down
that.
and, yeah, go ahead, Perry. Sorry.
Yeah, so I would echo that, Gabe. I definitely in between sessions, it's great. A little bit of small talk, be able to learn where they're from. What's something that they're interested in their part of the world or part of the country, and get to know them a little bit, and then you might have something in common and be able to possibly help each other out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I just want to pop over to the chat for a second. So Abby is asking, if you have not watched Ted Lasso, will you appreciate and understand your presentation, Gabe?
That is a great question. Um, I believe you will. I think that there's a lot of very universal themes and comments that are in there. It helps if you've seen the show for sure. But the way that Wyatt and I look at it, it really is. It really is more of a conversation about leadership and about those roles. We just kind of use these characters as avatars to to explain how those leadership roles can be demonstrated. But you'll probably end up watching the show afterwards, or at least wanting to watch the show afterwards.
And I'll just say, if you haven't watched the show, watch it. It's so good. It's so good. Like, go get a temporary subscription to Apple TV and just watch it. It's such a great show. I can't say enough good things about that show. Abby is speaking with the Safety Justice League Tuesday morning. Bryce Giffler is speaking on Everything You're Too Afraid to Ask. That's a great title. I love that, Bryce. That's happening June 28th, 4 p.m. So check out those sessions. Carmen, what did you want to add to where do you meet people at Safety 2022?
Well, I would say the booths that ASSP organizes sometimes, the community booths, foundation booths, there are always little tables where you can put your bag, relax, get a drink, and there is always going to be someone there you can talk to. In past conferences, I really enjoyed the lounge, the Wise Lounge. That was my point to go always. I am not sure if this year we're having one, but that is a place where I met my future mentor at the time. We were just having a sandwich together, and it was an excellent connection. I met so many people there. It was a place to just relax, and you just sit and somebody else is sitting with you, and you just smile, and the conversation starts. So I believe there are also flash sessions this year, and those are very really short 15-minute sessions that you can go in between your sessions, and you can also sit and relax and talk to someone. There is always something to do at the end of these mini sessions too.
Yeah, those are great suggestions. I had forgotten about the lounges.
Yeah.
I know also that a lot of chapters will hold kind of a social mixer sort of thing for attendees, from a chapter. If we have a bunch of group of people going together, this is crazy. I have somebody knocking on my door right now, and I know in a second they're going to open the door because my hot water heater isn't working, and so we're just going to have to deal with that distraction when it happens. All right. Uh, All right. So the next question that I have is how do you start a conversation with somebody that you don't know? Especially if you're kind of in an environment where everybody else is already partnered up and they're talking. Like, what do you do? Any tips for that, Perry?
Yeah, so I learned years ago. Somebody actually gave us a little tip, and this was great. Walk across the room, because a lot of times what we do is we just see a group and we just like, how do we do this? How do we, walk over there? And what do we say? What's our icebreaker? First step: walk across the room. And just that message really rang for me, and I still say that because I'm an introvert at heart, but I've learned to be an extrovert. So it's important to take that first step and walk across the room, and then maybe see a smile or make eye contact with somebody, and then you start talking, and it just happens, and you start to learn what's their interests, and then you can start sharing a little bit about yourself, and then you never know what you have in common, and on a business sense you're able to help each other, and that's what's really great about these networking opportunities is there's opportunities to help them in their business, and there's opportunities on the other side of it too, and we can be able to have a shared experience with some people, and hopefully we're helping each other out, and the safety of all of our people gets better because of it.
I like that. Walk across the room because
Mm-hmm.
I know this happens for me. Like I'm in an event and all of a sudden, like I start to withdraw and I'm like, and I just want to get, back further into the corner. So you're like, no, get out of that, walk across the room. All
Yeah, you
right.
have to take that
I
initiative.
wanna, yeah, I wanna add to that. Just don't bring your phone when you're ready to network, because I know that
Oh, good point.
over the last 2 years we've been so into virtual events, right? That when we are presented with an actual person, we're like, oh no, what do we do now? So just turn off your phone, because that's also a distraction when you want to interact with a person. Look at them in the eye. Don't look at your screen. And it's hard. I had a hard time going back to the office after 2 years, and I experienced myself in a situation where I didn't know what to say to a coworker, right? So it is difficult to break the ice after so many years of being in confinement. But I think, just leave your phone in your purse and then get ready to talk.
That's a really great suggestion because it's so tempting to just like, have something to occupy myself so I don't feel like I'm, so awkward right now. Gabe, what would you add to that?
I actually, those are really good points. I like to over prepare when I go into a networking event. Usually, I try to find a couple good points ahead of time, or even some like the small talk questions to come up with. If there's something that I can use to, I don't know, have a shared experience side by side with people. If there's like a buffet table, or a drink or a coffee or something like that, to come up and make a comment about the coffee or something like of that nature. Um, the nice thing about this too is that everyone's going to have a badge, and usually there's information about where the person is from, or even even just finding somebody with their same name. I tend to gravitate towards somebody else that has Gabe as their name because there's not that many of them, and it's really fun to be able to connect with someone that has the same name or a slight different spelling or something like that. Just something goofy to kind of break the ice a little bit.
Yeah.
A tip and trick. This is kind of a random detail-oriented side note. If I'm having a water, a coffee, a cocktail, whatever, and I'm holding it, I always hold it in my left hand.
Mhm.
I make
Ah,
sure to keep my right hand open because nobody wants to shake hands with, if you've been holding something cold or hot, or to make that awkward shift. I always keep my right hand free. I think it's just a little bit more welcoming, and that's just kind of a weird habit that I picked up years ago.
that's a great suggestion. I like that. So I was asked, what are your best networking tips? And I got a tip, and they said they heard it from a TED video. I looked for the TED video. I can't find it, so I can't point you to the original source, but I thought it was a great insight. And they were talking about, when you see people grouped up, you're going to have different combinations. You're going to have two people who are standing across from each other, looking at each other. That is a really difficult group to break into because,
Mm.
right, they're involved. What you're
Right.
looking for is an open group of three. So there are three people, but they're kind of pointed out. And that is a natural place for you to kind of come in, and then you can kind of almost pair up with twos and twos.
Mm.
So you can kind of imagine kind of looking down from the top of the room, and you can kind of see that. And I thought, well, that makes a lot of sense. That's a much easier group to introduce yourself to because there's literally space for you to walk into that.
I think to add to that a little
That's
bit,
great.
Sharon, for those of us that do know some people in some of these events, I think it's kind of our responsibility to have a little bit of an open group as well. It'll be so easy to just connect with the people that we know in these places, but to just have a place where we can actually be welcoming to some of the newbies or the people that might not be as connected. I think that's one of the things I really love about these events is that people are generally pretty welcoming. But I know I'm going to try to find those deer in the headlights looks from people and see if I can create a place that is more open for them to come and participate.
I
Yeah,
would
that's
add
nice.
to that too. The whole concept of walking up to a group. But yeah, if you have somebody with you, especially somebody who's younger or not as experienced in safety, and you drag them along with you, and hey, let me introduce you to these
Hmm.
folks that I know, and then again,
Absolutely.
it helps those newer folks really get connected with some experienced people that maybe could help that newer safety professional.
Yeah. And so everybody who's listening today, look at these faces. You've got Carmen, you have Perry, you have Gabe. When you see these people, they want you to come talk with them. So I've just set it
Totally.
up
We
now.
can.
You can network
We'll
Totally.
with
come find you.
them.
Yes.
Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about is what happens after the conference. So you've met some people, maybe you've got some business cards, you go home. What do you do with that then? Who wants to start us off on that conversation?
I can.
Okay.
So I guess the big thing that I try to do during the conference is I really try to utilize LinkedIn as a great way to connect. There's a feature in LinkedIn there. If you click on the connections part there, there's a way to get to your own QR code, and you can actually share that with somebody. They can scan that QR code. You can get connected quickly through that process. There used to be a feature where you could connect multiple people. If you're in a classroom together with people, you can do that. I don't know if that feature is still available, but I know individually you can actually have your own QR code that somebody can scan very quickly, and you can get connected that way. almost like a virtual business card through the social network of LinkedIn. But that's a great way to connect. You can be able to connect with them afterwards. You can start to learn a little bit about them through their social network. So that's at least how I've done in the past, is to try to really stay connected with people that we've got similarities, and maybe there's some things we can help each other out with.
Yeah, that's great. LinkedIn has been a really wonderful tool for that. Carmen, you want to add
Yeah,
anything?
yeah, sure. Yes, I agree with Lincoln. Also, if you already have connected, maybe in a conference, just go out and have a coffee if you're really interested in the industry, or maybe there's a job that you've seen out there that attracts you. Um, and also I think after each day, there's a lot of networking events going on. So especially, after the last conference session, you can actually meet people outside of the suits, and then it's a good thing to network when you are not in that environment. Also, when you are a little more relaxed, there is a lot of interaction that could happen, a lot of exchange of information. So yeah, do register for those networking events. I know there is one happening on Monday night, right, where there's going to be a lot of people, and why not use that as a way to continue your networking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gabe.
Yeah, definitely. Connecting on LinkedIn. Perry, I like the QR code idea. I've actually done something similar. I print it out and put it on the back of my phone, actually,
Mm,
and so
Oh,
it
yeah.
is
nice.
really like my business card. And I
Mm,
just tell people, hey, go ahead and just scan this, and even that alone is kind of a fun conversation starter.
mm.
I'm the weird guy with the QR code on the back of my phone. It's usually pretty distinctive. But yes, absolutely connecting with them, and not don't just ask for the connection on LinkedIn. Send a DM, even just something really quick saying, "Hey, I really like the fact that I met you at ASSP, or that was a fun session, and it'd be great to connect sometime." So it's
Mhm.
not just one of the million random connections that they get. It's something where you remind the person, "Hey, we were in this session together, and we had this in common," and it's a great way to keep continuing the conversation.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like that tip because it helps to have that reminder, because especially in an event like this, if you meet a lot of people, you can be like, what were we talking about? What was that thing? And if you can kind of remind them, it kind of cements that. I think that's a great
Exactly.
tip. I like that.
Yeah, also I forgot, connect with the speakers. Sometimes you
Mm.
you really like the speaker, maybe you want to bring it to your job or your chapter. So those connections are really good. Yeah.
That's true. And as a speaker, I can tell you, I love it when people come up and talk with me afterwards, because otherwise I feel like I'm stuck standing
Yeah.
in front of the room. I'm like, oh my God, everybody hated it. So you come talk to us afterwards, please.
Yeah, I think that's how you and I connected. Yes,
Yes.
after one of our sessions.
Yes. And I'll also put a plug in. This is a kind of a good excuse for getting re-engaged with your local chapters. So if you haven't been attending meetings regularly, if you're not, volunteering on the board, this is a great way to reconnect. And those chapters are such a great place for career opportunities that I think you're missing out if you're not leveraging that. So before we wrap up here, any final thoughts or words of wisdom for making the most of networking at Safety 2022?
So I would say there are years and years and years of experience of people that attend this event every year, and it's an opportunity. Each one of us has that opportunity to meet somebody and meet some people that maybe we can learn something from. So get out there, walk across the room, and get to know some people.
Thanks, Perry. Carmen or Gabe?
Yeah, I'll jump in with something real quick. You talk about being introverted. Definitely, I'm an introvert with some extroverted tendencies, and yeah, I have had to work on the whole networking thing. Also, people do networking differently. It doesn't have to be just the person that's jumping up in front of the crowd and the life of the party and that kind of thing. You can also connect in your own quiet way, and that reaches out to people as well. But I would encourage everybody to do some networking. Safety is a difficult industry. It's a difficult profession to be in. You cannot do it by yourself, or at least you can't do it really well by yourself. So highly encourage you to get connected with people. You can help others, and they can help you.
Yeah, my thought would be to go to the conference with a goal. Go prepared, like most of us said. Prepare with the with material that you want to share, or know your topic, or just make sure you have a goal in mind. I want to meet these people. I want to join this chapter. I want to have a new job. So have a good goal in mind, and you can do this. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Carmen. And I'm just going to pop over to the chat box here because we have some good suggestions in here. Bryce is giving us permission to slide into his DMs, so I'm going to be singing Lizzo now for the rest of the day here. Uh, Abby says we had 2-inch buttons printed with a QR code on their LinkedIn page or Linktree. Linktree. I'm not familiar with Linktree, so I'm going to have to check that out. She says it's free to use and you can put any link you want on there that you prefer people to use. So that's interesting. That
Nice.
seems worth checking
Cool.
out. Bryce recommends that if you get a business card, write on the back of it so that you can remind yourself. That's another thing, right?
Mhm.
We can forget what we were talking to people about. And let's see. Yeah, so those are all the tips and tricks. And I want to thank Carmen and Perry and Gabe so much for joining me this morning. I really appreciated your advice and looking forward to seeing you all in Chicago in a few weeks.
Awesome. Thank
See
you.
you soon. See you
Thank you
soon
very
in
much.
Chicago. Yes.
Take
Bye.
care, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.